2026 is already a few months in, and horror fans have gotten a handful of new releases. Some of them are pretty good, some have been a little underwhelming, and a couple of them have surprised me in a really good way. If you're new to the channel, go ahead, come rock with your boy as we break down horror movies that we've gotten in 2026 thus far. Alright, Spooky Gang, so breaking down the very first movie that I saw in 2026, and that would be Primate. Movie Primate centers around a college student that returns to her home with her friends. They have a family chimpanzee named Ben, and Ben becomes an unpredictable threat to them, and they must find a way to survive. Personally, I thought that Primate was a pretty decent movie. It knew exactly what it was. It wasn't going outside of the box to be something that it's not. It was pretty consistent all the way through. It's not trying to reinvent horror or anything like that. It's mainly focused on giving you a couple of tense moments, some creature attacks, so basically a pretty straightforward survival story. And honestly, something simple like that that's done pretty well is exactly how you would want to start a year off, so I thought that this movie was solid. The next movie is Psycho Killer, and this had some promise going into it. The movie follows a detective investigating a string of murders connected by a strange pattern left at each crime scene. The main character in this movie is Georgina Campbell, and I'm personally a big fan of hers, and she plays this determined investigator. The killer leaves symbolic clues and things of that nature at crime scenes, as you know, we've seen in movies before. So really a lot of this movie was formulaic in a way. Yeah, are there little elements and stuff that makes this movie different? Sure, but it's nothing special to write home about, at all. And like I said, that's with me being a big fan of Georgina Campbell and a lot of her work from Barbarian. But yeah, this movie just was decent at best. A lot of it, just the overall plot and, the killer himself just wasn't overly compelling, so it just left you longing for more because there wasn't a whole lot that they gave you, honestly. So yeah, if you just so happen to catch this movie on streaming and you want to see it, sure, if you want to, but it's definitely not a movie that I'm putting my stamp on. The next movie is Send Help, and it honestly might be the most fun and enjoyable watch of the year. So in this movie, a corporate executive and one of his employees become stranded on a remote island after a plane crash, and so the normal power dynamic gets completely flipped. So you have a high-level corporate boss who's used to being in control, and then his employee who sits a little lower on the corporate ladder. She's due to get promoted and all this good stuff. But that promise was broken, so now that the roles are reversed, now on the island, her survival skills are pretty much the thing that saves them. And it was pretty dope seeing how she was a fan of Survivor, and it has a really nice twist with this movie. So there genuinely was a lot to like, and her boss was the perfect asshole. Any chance he got to be an asshole, he pretty much was one, and that's something I can't knock with the movie. Like I said, it was just really fun, really entertaining. This movie is literally that episode of SpongeBob with the magic conch.
Could I have anything to eat?
No.
No, what do you mean no? I'm starving here.
Here, let me try. Magic conch. Could Squidward have some of this yummy, delicious, super terrific sandwich?
No.
Could I have this yummy, delicious, super terrific sandwich?
Yes.
All right!
Yeah, that's literally what this movie is. And being honest, in general, I am a fan of Sam Raimi's work, but I will say the only thing that still kills me is his infatuation with the blood, guts, and snot, and just anything that you think is relatively just disgusting, he's gonna put it in it. Throw up, all that type of stuff. It's just like his movie Drag Me to Hell with the old lady and everything. Just, yeah, disgusting, right? So yeah, there's a lot of little disgusting crap that he does in here, but just outside of that, no, this movie is really fun. Now we have to talk about Scream 7, which is obviously the biggest horror release. So in this movie, and similar to some other Scream movies, a new Ghostface killer emerges, targeting people connected to past Woodsboro events. The film explores the legacy of the franchise while bringing in a new generation of characters, so that being Sydney's daughter is now into the fold of everything, and Sydney once again must confront another Ghostface. Of course, there's going to be multiple suspects, and the film will eventually build towards another multi-killer reveal. As far as my thoughts on it, I think that Scream 7 was okay. To me, it's better than Scream 6, but it's not better than Scream 5 with the franchise. And I think one of my biggest issues with it, specifically with 6 and 7, is it kind of feels like at this point they just giving the mask to anybody. Don't get me wrong, yeah, clearly there were different people that donned the mask in 2, 3, 4, but it seemed like in a lot of those there was some genuine reason or a connection to why some of these people were doing what they were doing. But now it seemed like a lot of the people who are killers in these past two movies is so loosely connected to anything that would actually matter. Like, it's just genuine insanity, like people just killing just to be killing. Like, you know, like in Scream 6, they were trying to kill Sam and Jenna Ortega because they killed Jack Quaid. But yeah, Jack Quaid was one of the killers in Scream 5, but it's like, is he really, I don't know, like, I guess his impact on the franchise, like, is it really that important for this family to feel like they need to do that? And then in this movie, it's even more ridiculous for the reason why of anybody doing anything. It's those little things like that. And it's just like, okay, yeah, y'all just have anybody killing for literally no reason at this point. It's just killing just to be killing. I want to be Ghostface, dang near. There's decent homages, you know, it's cool when there are a couple of nice little scenes, but like just overall nothing special about this movie. And then being honest, Sydney's daughter didn't add too much to the movie. She was just kind of there a lot of times in the movie, but she had a couple good lines towards the end of the movie, but that was pretty much the extent in terms of the impact that she truly had to the movie, in my opinion. So overall, it's a decent sequel, but it's not one of the better movies in the franchise. And lastly, the movie Undertone, which is, in my opinion, the best horror movie of the year so far. And so with this movie, the story revolves around two podcasters listening to strange audio recordings and trying to investigate the story. But as they investigate it, they uncover something far darker behind the phenomenon. So this movie really focused heavily on the audio and the sound aspect, and the sound design for this movie was absolutely amazing. And like I said, this is the best horror movie of the year so far. And if I'm being honest, I don't know how much of that praise is really geared towards how well this movie works and how well made it is in comparison to how lackluster some of the other movies might be. Send Help was definitely a surprise and really enjoyable. Primate was just kind of rock solid, just straight up, like nothing great, nothing crazy. Scream was middling at best, probably was still better than Psycho Killer. So I mean, I really don't know. It's been nothing to write home about so far this year. Even when you compare it to 2025, wasn't overly just amazing to me either. There were only two standouts for the most part. That was Weapons and Sinners, honestly. But yeah, back to this movie, I think that it just really was enjoyable, and I say enjoyable in the way that I had already been asking for a really dark and just terrifying movie, and in a lot of ways I got that. This is one of the only movies that was really geared towards, like I said, I'm trying to scare you. Were there little elements that they could have done better to really heighten that and make it that much better? Sure, absolutely. But the things that it didn't do doesn't weaken the movie. It can only make the movie better, and that's the way I think about it. But I can't lie, I really do want to rewatch it just to see if I kind of feel the exact same way and see if it's just as impactful as it was the first time, or if it's lessened to a significant degree just because I had already seen the stuff. So I definitely will revisit just to see, but like I said, it's that serious of a movie that I'm just like, yeah, nah. See it once, you're probably locked in and you're good. So yeah, Spooky Gang, so looking at the year so far, it's been decent. We haven't really had any crazy stinker that is just like, oh my god, this movie is horrible. But I genuinely do look forward to the Backrooms of the world, Hokum, Obsession, some of these other movies. Yeah, like those really might be some of those ones that potentially might make the difference for the year, and you know, might put it a little notch above. I mean, we'll just have to see at this point. But that is all I have, Spooky Gang. Y'all comment down below what you think of 2026 horror movies so far, and what is your favorite horror movie of 2026 to this point. Y'all comment that down below. Spooky Gang, be on the lookout for more content. Y'all already know how we rocking. So until next time, Spooky Gang, y'all stay blessed and y'all stay spooky.